Hey, good morning, Pastor Steve here. I told you I'd be in lawful introspective during this time of quarantine. Matthew 23, 1 through the first part of verse 5. When Jesus spoke to the multitudes and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Therefore, whatever they tell you to observe, that observe and do. But do not do according to their works, for they say and do not do. They bind heavy burdens hard to bear and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all of their works they do to be seen by men." It was my daily devotional from Kickstart yesterday said this. During Jesus' time on earth, he spoke strongly against focusing on behavior over the heart. Yet many of us as Christians today focus intensely on performance, doing the right things, the right way, for the right people to see. Regardless of how much we may hate it, it's a mindset we can find ourselves having difficulty shaking. As a result, it becomes difficult at times to tell whether we're doing the right thing for the right reason or just doing good so we don't look bad. I know I have to my shame, tell you that quite often I've been like Teddy Roosevelt. At his funeral, his daughter was reported to have said, "My father always wanted to be the corpse at every funeral, the bride at every wedding, and the baby at every christening." Her name's Alice Roosevelt Longworth. You can look that up. I get that. So often, and those who know me love me and pray for me. I'm always seeking prayer for this attitude. So often the "how will this look" virus gets me. Then I'm compelled to look to the book. I like this. Examine your motives, one version puts it, to make sure you're not showing off when you do your good deeds, only to be admired by others. Otherwise, you'll lose your reward in heaven. So when you give to the poor, don't announce it and make a show of it just to be seen by people. Like the hypocrites in the streets and in the marketplace, they've already received their reward. But when you demonstrate generosity, do it with pure motives and without drawing attention to yourself. Give secretly, and your Father who sees all you do will reward you openly. That's in Matthew chapter 6, first 4 verses. I have to stop and ask myself, Stephen, what's your motivation here? Are you willing to quietly give and let this go unnoticed, or do you want trumpets? I want to want the right motives. Did you hear what I said? I want to want the right motives. I'm growing, yet that pride bee, and I told you this lockdown has made me kind of introspective, that pride bee still buzzes really loudly at times. You know what else Teddy Roosevelt's daughter was purported to have said right after she said her dad wanted to be the bride at every wedding thing? She said, "But there's something you didn't know about Daddy. Every night he went out into the yard at the White House and stood under the stars with his aide until he felt small enough to sleep." I want to have that etched in my mind as well. I want to remember that I am just a speck of dust, a small microcosm of humanity. And let God humble me, and then let him lift me up when he sees fit. And after all, as small as I am, speck or no speck, the King of all creation knows my name. And really, isn't that enough? Hey, you ponder that, Pastor Steve.